Hi there, everyone, and welcome to my coloring corner. It is Tips and Tricks Tuesday, and we are going to work on the snow globe that we started last Tips and Tricks Tuesday. I haven't gotten very far because life happens and other projects happen, and I've been working little bits here and there and everywhere on it. So I've gotten the water done, the globe done itself. And today we're going to work on the base as well as the embellishment here. So what we're going to do with that as well as the bow if we get to that point. But today I want to concentrate on the embellishments here and the base. And we're going to do that with a technique that I learned when I very first started coloring on how to color gold with just 3 different colors. And I will list the YouTube channel that taught me how to do this so that you can watch her showing of it as well, and maybe get another perspective of it than how I see doing it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to actually cover everything that we want to be gold in yellow. And this is the Bruynzeel number 19. The channel that I'm going to send you to through the YouTube links is she has all of the different colors that you would use for different sets, like the Artezas, the Prismas, and that sort of thing. So it will go through and show you exactly what you need to use. She is using the Bruynzeels in the video, so that's why I chose them, because that's what she's using, and I really like the way they look, and I love the way the Bruynzeels lay down. So the first thing we're doing is a really mustardy kind of yellow, almost a tan, really sandy tan brown. And once we're done with it, hopefully it will get a look of tarnished gold, but we will have to see. So I'm just putting that yellow down on everything that I want to have a goldy color to it. And I do have gold pencils, of course, but I don't want this to have that brassy gold look that the gold pencils have. So I figured this was the best way to show you how to do that. And I will switch you over to the other camera after I start concentrating a little bit more with the other colors to get that look that I want in it. But as I'm just doing the light yellow right now, I'm going to leave you on the big camera so that you can see the whole thing going down. And like I said, I'm doing this very loosely. I'm not covering everything, or every little bit, because there's going to be a lot of layers going on. And this is a technique where you definitely have to add a little more here, add a little more there, and so forth. It's not an instantaneous process, and it will look a little mucky as you go along. So we're not going to cover the entire, well, I will be covering the entire thing, but I'm not going to do that all on camera. I'm just going to show you the technique on some of the smaller areas so that you can get a good idea of how it goes. I hope everybody is having a really, really nice day. I know it's, just the start of the week, but hopefully everybody's week is going well so far. Of course, I always have to give you guys a couple of reminders. We do have the party coming on Sunday. On Saturday, we will be doing a coloring corner bake along instead of a color along. I know it's a coloring channel and whatnot, but it is the holidays and I need to get some things done. And baking is one of those things that I need to get done. And there's only so many days in the week that I can get it done. And I figured it was something fun that we can do together, and I can show you maybe a recipe or two of the things that I bake every year. All right, so I'm almost done with the yellow. And once we get going on a smaller area where the details are going to start coming out, I will switch over to the other camera so you can see the details a little bit better. Okay, so I'm going to need to sharpen these pencils because they are a little dull. And my sharpener is actually being good today, which is a good thing. But you need a nice, good point on these two pencils. One of which is a reddish color brown. And of course, you know, sorry about that. The train has decided that it's going to make its presence known and probably is going to shake the camera. So I will switch you over, and I apologize if it is shaking the camera, which it is. Okay. So what we're going to start on is this little finial up here because there's a lot of detail in the little finial. So we're going to start with the dark brown, and this is a very dark brown. It's almost a black brown. There's no added little color in it. It's definitely a dark brown. And I'm just going to go around the edges and down into the grooves with this really dark brown. And I hope that my hand isn't in your way. Of course, I'm shadowing, so let's turn this light on. I've got the blinds open again, and I like the natural light, but I don't like the shadow it gives you guys, so I should really close that while I'm doing videos, and I completely forgot. So I'm just going around just a little bit into the different areas. And like I said, this is a process that takes a few different layers, so don't press too hard because you will need to put another layer on top of that. Sorry. Okay, so we've got the dark brown in there. Now we're going to go over the dark brown with this reddy brown, and we're just going to bring it in a little bit and just do little by little so that you don't end up putting too much in there. These are very, very small spaces, but if you're doing a larger space, you can probably add a little bit more than I am on this. And basically what I want to accomplish is it to look like a area is standing up higher than another area, and a antiqued look to it. Just a little tiny bit of tarnished look to it. Now I need my brush because these do dust quite a bit, and I don't want to rub it because if I rub it, it's going to make a mess. And then we'll go over it with the yellow. A little bit harder this time to make that yellow look pop up. Now it's not looking as red as I'd like, so let's put a little bit more of the reddy brown in there. And like I said, it's a gradual process of layer over layer over layer. You're not going to get it absolutely perfect on the first layer. Don't expect it to become perfect on the first layer, because it will not. And I'm not pressing hard with any of the pencils. I'm just blending it together to give it that golden look. Now I'm just going to take this dark one again. And go down these sides and into the areas that are going to be shadowed. Kind of like that. Now we're going to take this reddish brown and we're just going to work on these areas a little bit. Now these areas are really, really small, so it's not going to take a lot to do these areas. If you're working on a larger item, it will take much longer of gradual building from one side to another. But for these really, really tiny areas, it's not so bad. But for example, if we were to do the base down here, it would require a lot more layering and leveling. But I wanted a nice rich yellowy gold, and none of my metallic pencils have that look. Okay, so let's go on to the finial here. The little curly part here. And just try to do it really, really light. I pressed a little too hard there, so that might be a bit of a problem on that part, but we will see when we add the yellow if I need to bring that out a little bit more. And I think I do. I think I need to add a little tiny bit more there, just to bring it into that yellow a little bit more evenly. Okay. Now, like I said, this process is available on YouTube. That's where I learned it. That's where I've learned a lot of the techniques I know. I would be happy to share with you where I learned it, so that it gives you a better idea. She is using it on this technique on a larger surface than I am. She's using it on a picture frame, so it may show you a little bit better the layering of doing it this way. Because these areas are pretty small, so it may not be giving you a really good view of exactly what you need to do. And of course, I've got, all three pencils in my hand, and I'm just alternating between the three. you know, there's a yellow, reddish brown. Oh, I do apologize. Sorry about that. I forgot to turn the sound down on my phone. So it's the yellow, which is a mustardy kind of yellow, as well as a reddish brown, and then the very, very dark brown. And you just layer little by little until you get the look you want. I'm trying to keep you in the screen here. Without blocking you with my hand, because they are very, very small little areas. It is proving to be a little more difficult than I thought it was going to be. Not the coloring part, but keeping it so that you guys can see what's going on. And of course, you just go over it with the yellow. And if you feel you don't have enough there, or the lines are too harsh, just gently go over it with your reddish brown and bring it out. Okay, now we're going to do the lower finials here. And just make sure that you put in where you want, you know, the edges that you want to be laid down or shadowed are going to be darker. So use your darker colors on them. Now these little parts up here on the tops here, these ones are curled under, so they're going to be shadowed. These ones are curled up, so they're not. So be careful when doing things like that, the direction of your object. So if it's going to point upwards, it may get more light than if it was pointed downwards. See the parts up here where the light is going to hit more. I've got more yellow. Where down here, the light is going to hit more up here. So down here is where we're going to add that antiquing, that darkness. And like I said, these are really, really small areas, so it's not taking a whole lot. When you're doing a larger area, of course, make sure that you just layer little by little by little to give you the effect that you want. And this can be transferred, like I said, the woman that I learned it from is actually coloring a picture frame in her video. So obviously it can be transferred from one type of coloring to another. It doesn't have to be something ornate or anything like that. It can be, you know, something as simple as a banister or a lamp shade, you know, that sort of thing. Just remember to follow your lines, follow your areas that are going to be a little bit more shadowed and a lot more shadowed. You know, make sure that the areas that need to be bright are bright, and you know that you have that coppery color coming down into your gold areas for those areas that you want to look antiqued or older or tarnished, I guess is the word for it. You know, when you have a metal frame or a metal thing and it's been touched a lot, it gets that color change on it. All right, so let's bring all that down into and of course, like I said, it's a layering process. So if you find that it's not brown enough, if it's too goldy color, anything like that, you can add more. Just add a little bit more at a time. And that way you don't make it too red or too dark brown. You can adjust a lot easier if you remember just to add little by little by little. Let's see, I want that a little bit darker up here. And a little bit darker in these little crevices here. And the darker you do the shadow areas, the more three-dimensional it looks. Like that. So now we're going to move on to the next little part. Now it's layered all the way down from top, over top, over top, over top. So this area here is going to be your shadow area, just the same as this area here is the shadow area. And just bring it down a little bit. Don't press too hard on it, just enough that it gives it that dark look. Like I said, we'll be going over it as we go along with the different pencils. And just follow the lines in the areas that you know are going to get tarnished or are going to have a little bit darker coloring. And then bring your red color, your red brown into it, into where you know that the tarnish is going to end and that yellow gold is going to show a little bit more. Just make sure that your crevice areas and your areas that you want to be darker are darker. And I'm going to move you a little bit here so you can see a little bit better. Because I'm running out of room to move my paper. Now I want this up here a little bit darker. So I'm going to put those a little bit darker up there. a little bit more of that dark brown up there. Same within here, just a little bit more up at the top. And then we take our yellow and we just blend it all together. And like I said before, if you find that your lines are too harsh of an end, take your reddish color and just add a little bit more. And one thing I really like about these Bruynzeels is they do blend together really nicely. And they don't take a lot to blend together, which is really, really nice. Okay. And I hope that helps everyone understand a really simple 3-color process of doing a gold tone. Now you can also do this with a silver tone with 3 different grays or 2 different grays and a black. So if you wanted to do this in silver, you would put down your black color in the darker areas, and then you would put your darker gray down, and then you would put your light gray over top to give it that pop of color. Oh, that's the wrong one. So again, I'm just doing the dark area. Just really light, because you gotta remember that you can layer. Make sure that you don't do anything too dark or too heavy, because if you kill the tooth of the paper, you won't get that layer ability to make sure that it's exactly the right tone that you want it to be. Which does not work well when you're coloring. So now we're going to take that reddy brown and we're just going to bring that darkness down a little bit and give it that antique look. And I want to come down a little bit with some of that dark, because it's curving in a little. And if you find an area is too red or whatnot, you can of course go over it with the darker brown. Now, because this area here is starting to curve, and this area here is more of a curve, and this one here is a complete curve, it's going to feel a little bit darker on this side than this side because of the curve. So if your light is coming straight on, this part here should be curved over a little bit. That's the way I want it to look, is like it's curved over a little bit. So if you color that area darker and then go over it with your yellow, it will start showing that that shadow a little bit more. Where the light is standing more in this on this side, not that side. I'm just going to go over it just a little tiny bit more. There we go. And that's what I'm going to do all the way down throughout the entire process. Of course, by the time I'm done, I should have all the way down the base. Now I'm going to show you on these diamond areas here because they're a little bit different. They're the same process, but you've got more angles that you need to work. Like, for example, if you want this standing up, this area here is going to be your bright area. And these areas down here at the bottoms and the sides are going to be your shadow areas. Same with this area here is going to be a shadow area because it's lower than this area here. And you can't see that because I've got my fat fingers in the way. So this area here is going to be lower than this area here, but it's coming up. So you want to put your shadows in so that the highlights are given to the right areas. And make sure that you don't go too harsh on certain areas, otherwise it's going to show as too much red. Instead of just a shadow. Now, if we want to make this area here completely flatter than that area above, we need to make the shadow a lot deeper. Than it is on the part that's sticking up. Now we just go over it. Another thing you need to watch for when you're doing this process is that your ink is set, because with going over it and over it and over it, you could end up with your ink being moving with your color. Now I'm just going to go over all of the lines with this brown just to make them stand out a little bit more. So as you can see, it looks like it is a golden pedestal that it's sitting on. And I will continue that all the way through the pedestal as well. I'm just going to finish off these little areas here. And I'm going to put little rhinestones there, so I don't want to touch those at all. Just going to bring in this shadow here because it is going to be quite a deep shadow because it is on the edge as it's turning. So it's going to have less yellow showing than the full-on one. Now same here because we've got this flower. It's going to be blocking a lot of the edges. So and then we're going to take this reddish brown, just going to follow the edges. Now I'm not going to put too much of this on here. Because I still want that yellow to show on there. And once I put the yellow down, I'll be able to see how much more I need to add to make that shadow look right. So it doesn't look like it's flat. See how it kind of looks like it's flat? Well, we don't want it to look like it's flat, so we just add a little bit more on the edges here so that the edges look shadowed and that center piece is sticking up. And the further along you get, of course, you got the darker shadows over here, and the lighter shadows will be through here. So you wouldn't shadow as deeply here as you would, say, over here. And I missed a spot with the light coloring. Don't worry if you miss a spot or two. By the time you get to this point, you've added more than enough color to make up for those spots that you may be missing. Now, I'm going to do a little bit on the base here so that you can see how it works in a larger area. Now this artist has done a wonderful thing for me and added these little areas here that you definitely know are going to be in the shadow. So we just put the shadow in. I'm just going over top of the line with this dark brown. And I'm not trying to be horribly neat with it. Same with this one. And these areas here, I want them to be shadowed, you know, a little bit deeper. So I'm just going to connect them a little bit. Like that. And then we're going to take our reddish brown. We're just going to go over top of the dark brown and bring it down a little bit into that yellow. Now I'm not going to completely go over to there because I haven't put in the dark brown over there yet. Right now I'm just doing the side. And I'm going to darken this up a little bit because it's a little too yellow, a little bit too red. Then we're going to take our red and bring it down here. Same with in here. Now I want this to look recessed. So I'm not putting it on the outside, I'm putting it all on the inside. Because this area I want to look like it's in. And that this border here, this edge here, is where it dips down. Now you can go into that area there a little bit. But most of that is going to be that mustard yellow gold color. Same with down here. Bring that in just a little bit from where the dark is and just follow the lines. And just give it a little bit by little bit of that reddish brown. If it looks too red, make sure you go over it with a bit of the darker brown. And gradually build that up. Make sure that you do extend that so you don't get harsh lines. Because if you get harsh lines, it doesn't look right. And I think I want a little bit more red here. Reddish brown, I guess. Now I'm not going all the way over. I'm just going as far as I need to go to show you how to do this area. Now, of course, you know, you're going to have shadows around the bow. Wasn't going to do this, but I will because it ends here. So you're going to have a shadow from that bow. So make sure that you add that shadow from the bow and extend that shadow into the gold area. go around your edges here with your bronzy color. You don't need to do it too much with your dark color, just enough with your bronzy color that you can see where it dips down. Okay, now we're going to go over it with the yellow, and this is that mustardy yellow. And we're just darkening up the yellow that we already laid down. And of course, you know, different areas where it might be a little bit lighter, just don't put down as much yellow. You know, don't put down as hard of a pressure is the word I'm looking for. Like in these areas here, I want it to be a little bit more yellow to mix that bronzing up. But in this area here, I might want it to be a little bit less. Maybe not that much less. Same with here. So when you get to, say, the center of this area here, you may want this area to be lighter. So you just ease up the level of pressure you're putting on the pencil. Maybe put down 1 or 2 layers less. And that is how gold is made with 3 different colored pencils. Now I have taken up 47 minutes of your time, and I'm going to take up a little bit more because I'm going to remind you to definitely, if you like the video, hit the thumbs up mark. Leave me a comment in the comment section if it was helpful. And of course, always, always, always relax, color, and stay safe. If you're not a subscriber to the channel, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button, as well as hit the bell as well, so that you get the notifications of videos when they are uploaded, as well as any live content that will be coming out. Now, of course, tomorrow we have our work in progress Wednesday, and I will probably still be working on this picture. I've got a few things I got to do today to prepare for Saturday's color along, since it's a bake along, and I have to, you know, make sure I have all the ingredients for what we're baking. We're going to actually make an old family recipe of whipped shortbread, so that should be fun. What else do I need to remind you? Oh, of course, absolutely not the last thing, but definitely not the last thing to remind you of is we do have a new Facebook group that I have created for the channel and for my subscribers, as well as other members of Facebook. And you can join that by hitting the Facebook link on my YouTube page. Of course, make sure that you fill out the application questions. And when you do fill out the application questions, we'll get you submitted as quickly as possible. Go through the announcement area of the page and look at different things that we have going on, as well as the rules and regulations are in there. And I would like you to please type in agree to the rules and regulations area there, so that I know you're in agreement to our few rules, so that everybody stays safe and happy in our little group. All right, so I have pretty much covered gold there. I hope you all enjoyed it. I thank you all very much for joining me. And if you have any suggestions for Tips and Tricks Tuesday, please leave them in the comment section, and I will do my best to figure out how I do it, because sometimes I just blindly do it. Like doing this gold process is I've been doing it since I learned it, and I just pretty much do it now. It's just normally quickly done. What else was I going to tell you about? Oh, if you are wanting to be eligible for the grand prize package for the Saturday or Sunday Christmas party on the 13th, the Christmas bash, please make sure that you hit the email address on the YouTube channel and send me an email requesting your bingo card. Only those that have requested a bingo card will be eligible to enter the grand prize. So if you have not already requested your bingo card, please make sure that you do. And that's about it. With all of that, I think that's enough reminders for one day. I thank you all very much for watching and hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a fantastic day. Of course, always remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you already have done all of those things, relax. Definitely remember to color, and always, always stay safe. Bye-bye for now, guys. Thank you.